Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for joining me. We're taking a look at a hand club, a wooden hand club. I believe that fits in the hand really well, and it is also carved into several different birds on the ends, but the really nice bird is the one that you see right here. So it's like a duck head. Let's go ahead and show you the face there of the duck head painted in still. You can see perhaps carvings of eyes, but the whole bird head shown right there. And when we tilt it to the side here, you can see how the beak becomes more proportioned and the face comes out. Kind of need to look up at it there. Look at the carvings on that. Fantastic. It's really nice. The wooden artifacts are insane. Just to recap, in the last video, we took a look at this one, which you can see how on the end of it, it has a similar thing going on. So these are all charred pieces of wood, and they're designed to look like bird heads. It's really nice. This one being a club. The other bird heads are on here too. You guys can see how they represent hawks. Everything from the carving on the wood. There's even little faces on here, believe it or not. I've seen these before. I've seen them whenever they came out of the scrapings. And I should probably address that. I never have on video. I have in text quite a few times. But what I suspected was a mound, because I was finding all these things. What I suspected was really just a scraping of everything that was on top. So here we have a long face fella, and you can see how when we make the nose more proportioned, that perfect silhouette comes out. You can see his fat cheek, and you see the little ripple above that nose for the eye. And if our sun was out, he would glow, and different parts of him would light up. I'm trying to keep our focus here. Let me block my focus. There we go. This is a neat gateway style piece. You can see these little silhouettes with probably bird heads on top of them. This being the nose, a very round nose. And that's just a character for the interior images. Let's look at the color on here and see if we can see some faces. Looks like a duality kind of thing going on right here. Nice one. Let's go ahead and look at some more before you guys get too bored. We have a lot to go through, but we really have a lot of excellent artifacts to see. I guess staying back on the wood, here's another charred piece of the bark that's shaped like birds. You can see how the head of this one perhaps is done. There's one way where it's really perfect, but they even frayed out this way. They even frayed out the wings down here, so you can see how they're ruffled in this raven head or something. And if we zoom in on that face, you can see how it's all carved, just like the other things there. See the little hole for the eye? You see how, isn't that something? He's like doing the dive, you know? And then on the other side, it's gonna be faces and other birds as well. Let's go ahead and find the one for this side. Normally there is one, I don't know. This, I find a lot of these in there, these little charred pieces. They're all burnt, and so believe it or not, this thing has little images and stuff all over it, little paintings and characters that are painted in. You might be able to start to see them like I can. Looking at the color mostly of these, you can see these designs and swirls that if you're just looking at it as art, hopefully it's coming out for you. I'd feel like a fool if it's not, but these are little, every which way you turn it, there's little portraits and images on these. Of course, we have blades and things too. And that's gonna go ahead and fall to the ground here. I'm gonna put it somewhere. But these little bird effigy / faces that you guys can see, just looking at the color here, you can see how there's a petroglyph in the stone of a face. See how the nose is curled up. See the circle eye, curled up nose, and the mouth with the line for the cheek. And when we tilt it, see how all the colors line up perfectly? Let's look for, just on this section, there's gonna be another face. Now, if you're not seeing it, think smaller, littler. The painting ones are nice because you can kind of move them around a little bit. For this one, you'd have to think pretty small. Curious, huh? Let's go ahead and take a look at the bird here, if I can find him again. Yeah, I have a really nice bird in my pocket, guys. I want to show you. I need to get it out of my pocket anyway. So I'll give you a peek while I'm doing that. What else we have here. There's some other painted in images. If you're looking for a left side profile here, you can see how the black spot is the eye, the mouth. You can see how this is a different shade. Whoops, well, now it's all dirty, sorry. There's gonna be more on it, but that's one of the images. You guys are probably gonna see some other ones too. Look for smaller images and birds, of course. You see characters all over. See right here, there's a little character. So you can see the separation of his hair, and you can see his eye, his nose, and his mouth right there. You can see how just his head is just, or his face is just in the section kind of curled off by the carvings, where the carvings get curly. When we tilt that, it might come out a little better for us. Here we have to the right, looking at the white spot that's kind of separated from the other spot there as a nose. When we tilt this, you'll see all the other ones come out. And I got to do it slowly. Just on the very top here, there's a great one. So hopefully you guys are seeing that, just really small. Just the chin is right here, the mouth, the nose poking out, and then the carving for the eye. You can see the hairline at the top here. And notice, follow that hairline down to the V, and then watch it come back down here by the chin. You can see how the top of that's the hair of the character in there. And then when we tilt it again, you'll be able to see the paintings perhaps a little better. Let's go ahead and look at this bird. He's really pretty. So a lot of times there's just one big main outside image, and that's what we have here. So we have the beak sticking out just right here at this section. You can see the crest and the carving for the eye. And as you get to look at the whole bird here, as we tilt it a little further, you can see how the tail is represented. Birds, of course, are up in the trees, so you want to look at them from down below. And then when you do that, you can see on the wing here, if I keep it tilted correctly, you can see the ridges and ripples, and how the feathers are represented with all the little carvings that are there with the lines. And get a better look there. Of course, the face, if you're not seeing the face and the carvings in there. All right, this is a really excellent blade. You guys know when you're looking for artifacts, you always want to look for that long curved blade. This thing is still extremely sharp. And of course it does have human portraits and things on it as well. Painted in images, just looking, and you would look like at it as if it has stain or something on it, right? No, these are all washed out of a clay bankment. All these are coming out of this section right here that's all washed out. Look at all the carvings in there. See the face looking right at us too. But there's all these stones are carved. And I want to show you something over here. Let's take a little field trip for a second. So from far away, you got to catch it from far away. Do you see what that is with an open mouth facing us? Looks like an eel, perhaps. Sorry for the focus, geez. Let's see if I can, I don't know if the focus, autofocus lock. I don't know. I have to just keep on tapping my screen, I'm sorry. But this animal, to me, when I caught it looking right at it like this, it looked like an eel, perhaps. It's got a hole in its mouth. So let's take a closer look at this real quick. So of course we see the portraits facing upward, and there's going to be what's here for the bird head, I'm sure. Small portraits here, getting to larger ones, carving for eye there. See the big cheekbone, the nose, the rough part being here. That's in the ground still. Here's a gateway that just washed out. Oh, it's too deep, I think. So you can see this rich red packing that's on here. Let me go ahead and fix my camera, jeez. Sorry guys. So this clay packing I'm gonna have to wash off, but that's how all these are packed and preserved. People are always like, I wonder what they look like when they're fresh. These are fresh. They've come directly out of rich red clay from where they've placed them at, and this area has never been exposed. So guys, I gotta change my situation with my hands real quick. All right. let's go ahead and give this a wash and take a look at it. So we had tons of rain. Oh wow, let's see how the stuff is baked on. But we had tons of rain, and that washed everything off and cleaned it off very well. There's so many more out here, just getting washed out. That's the thing, something like this sitting out here is going to get worn down eventually. It'll take a few years for it to do it, but they're best when they're left in there, of course. You might ask, well, why are you taking them out of there? Well, because I want this recognized. If any archaeologists are watching, North Carolina needs a new state archaeologist. The applications are open. So, you guys can take a, this is just, if I can, there we go. Just a little stone bird. You see the little pointy beak, and he has a little spot in there for his eye. You can see the crest. Just little tiny emblems, little birds and humans with long noses, and also in painted faces too. Little head statues, little totem guys with long nose. Little Pinocchio guy here. Keep him too. So let's take a look at a few more. Every single stone, as you guys know, out here is one of these. So we can start off on this one here. I just got it a little wet, sorry. But if you look closely in the diamond-shaped eye there, just looking at the top of the stone, we can go ahead and give it a tilt. There's different eyes, so you see the little carving for the eye. Got some really great footage earlier, guys. I hope you get a chance to watch it on site. So look at the hole, the socket for the eye, the nose, and the mouth. And the way that I'm doing this is I'm looking at the nose, and I'm looking, if there's a nose here, then where would the eye be, right? So the eye would of course be there. And then I'm looking at the paint, and I'm looking at the interior images. And I'm seeing, of course, this image here with the mouth. Sorry, a little ADD there, because I get so excited to see these. Right on, embossed on the top of the stone here as well. There's another one. So just looking at that line, the longest point, as being the nose. And you're going to see them all over this one, obviously. Let's go ahead and flip it around. Look at the colors. Do you see a ghost image staring right at us? So an eye here, the nose and the mouth. And there you go. You can see all the glyphs on here now. If you look closely, you see a carving for an eye, a very large carving. See the lines and spikes coming out of it. Look at the other diamonds and crosses that are in here. Look at the face that perhaps is just looking right at you like a cartoon. So you see the two nostrils, 1, 2 nostril. Look at 1, 2 eyes, the nose and the nostrils. Do that all the way down. These spots here being 2 eyes. Just practice with your pareidolia just a little bit. Look at this as the mouth, the nose, the 2 eyes. You guys see it? One of these things is going to reach out to you, and when you see it, just like I said earlier, you're gonna, it's gonna change your life. You might not see it, but eventually you will. If you go out into your creeks and your rivers and you study this, you will, definitely. And you guys who know about it, obviously, if you made it this far, you probably already do. You know, we got to keep on spreading the word as much as we can. We have to. I love having a cause. It's so cool. But this is really fun for me to do, guys. And I know we're 13 minutes in, so it's only the OGs hanging out right now. But I really appreciate everybody. You know, and I sorry, these couple, like Rambling Jer came in. I feel like might feel like I stepped on his toes a little bit, because he's been doing this for so much longer. I want to point out that, you know, you got people like Paleo Mountain Man here, Squirrel Girl here, with the, see the cutout for the eye. See, look at the carving for the eye there really closely, and the button nose and the stripes going back. You can see the carvings and the colors for that. And this is a beautiful blade if you guys want to see the napped edge on it right there. Go ahead and show you Squirrel Girl. Sorry, I move really fast. Look at the color and the stripes coming up. See the 1, 2, 3 stripes? So it's just like a little character, kind of almost like an oceanic little character. I'm not sure what it represents. At the first I thought it looked like a squirrel, but now I just don't even know. It's its own thing. I could draw it out. I've drawn it out quite a few times. So you guys can check in my collection for that. All right, I'm starting to get a little silly here. Looking at this one. Let's go ahead and check this little guy out. He's really cool. It's got just a little scraper, a burnt scraper, but you can see the lines and things on it. And there's actually little paintings of humans on this as well, just as small as that. It's kind of hard to believe, but I wanted to show you just the beautiful bird head that's on it, which is right here. So you can see the spot for the eye, and if you look into the carvings, you might not be able to see this level of detail yet, but there is a diamond at the end of the beak here. Just look at the colors there. If I enhance the contrast, you'd be able to see that there's just a yellow diamond at the end of the point here. Of course, the spot on the top of that triangle, and then this line here. So looking at that level of detail is where we're at with this. It's, like we say, very complex and complicated. When we tilt the stone, kind of keeping that line level, you can see how there's other carvings on this edge. This is just a scraper. You can see how it's made it into a ceremonial piece though. Just on the very white section here, this little nose poking out. There's little silhouettes just right here in the white section, facing to the right, of course. You only see one eye on these. I don't know if I've pointed that out enough, or if I say that enough. Most of them, unlike the one, and then you can't say everything is the same, because just like the one we just saw, some of them have them facing right at you, right? So this is, I'm not going to go ahead and interpret these, just kind of want to show you these blocks and squares. This is a painted piece, so it's really nice. It has some faint, it's high level images on it. And when you, sorry, I'm getting bit by a fire ant. When we get better at seeing it, you'll be able to see the glyphs. You might be able to see them now. Let's go ahead and take a look. You might be able to see the lines down here. It might be a symbol. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's starting to get evening now. I think I'm going to take a deep breath. Just looking closely here, see the eye, the nose, and the mouth right here of the character on this part of the stone. Tilt it. You can see how it also becomes a bird head with the whole recession for the beak. But I want you to look at this nose. Keep that nose in mind, and look at the cheekbones. Look at how the features, it's like a black and white painting, or like one of those grayscale paintings. When I tilt it, you might be able to see the symbols and glyphs. Do you see how there's actually symbols and glyphs and carvings all over this? It's hard to see it. Open up your mind. You will see them. You will. You will. I mean, if you go onto your creeks and rivers, eventually, after you keep on looking for them, you'll see them. There's some of these elephants in here. You see this elephant to the left, and there's going to be, where you see one, you're going to see another one. So there's one right here too. See the black spot for the eye and the trunk coming down? And there's one on the right here too. See the eye right there and the trunk coming down. So there's always a herd of elephants. You always have a bunch of them because they've traveled in herds, of course. And what was I going to say about the elephants? Oh, some of them, I think, have harnesses on them. I think they domesticated the mammoth. It's very possible. Some of the things that I've seen, kind of. Isn't that neat though? Just a square stone, all this on that one stone. That's why they call these story stones. It's fascinating. Fascinating. All right, so we got a lot of this glass too, just real quickly. More blue glass, really thick, old glass it looks like. But I don't know, I'm finding a lot of these. Some of them could just be broken. You throw glass in, that's what's gonna be left over. The thing is, this stuff is in the caches, in the clay cache. So I know that it was buried by the people who buried this art. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one real quick. We have a painting of a person on here. If you look closely at this being the nose, you can see the eye right there in paint, the black with a little stripe on top of it. You might be seeing different ones though. Let's go ahead and tilt this one just a little bit so you can see probably a duck head on top as well. See the swirls. This looks like a human character. You see the small face. If you're not seeing it, it looks smaller. And the body. Maybe he's holding a spear. Yeah. Oh gosh, looks like kind of like Goro. Maybe a couple arms, I'm not sure. Of course, facing to the right, we see the character just in white with the lash for the eye, the line here for the hair. And when we turn this, the symbols and the swirls and the lines, he's like painted white face, like a Joker face. All that stuff comes out a little bit better. Sorry, I'm shaking because this is giving me energies. This is, you know, and I would have never said that 2 years ago before I started doing this. I would ridicule it. I'd make fun of you. I'd be like, yeah, whatever. I'm so science-based. I'm trying to do this as, you know, look at the little indentation for the lips. I am trying to follow the scientific method as much as possible, but it's hard to sometimes with this stuff. I'll tell you that right now. Something about it just gets you. See the spot, the hole for the eye, the yellow beak, the carvings on here, the flat square crest, big hole for the eye, large hole bird head. And of course it at least has one edge on it, which the sucker's still very sharp. But okay, enough for that one. Before we run out of data, real quick, we can go over just a few things on this one if you guys would like. So of course we have our statue here, and these are going to be looked at going upward too. So that's one of the better ways to look at this one, is kind of looking like if you're putting it up in the air. So let's go ahead and tilt it upward just a little bit, and I want you to be able to see that line for the face a little better. So I watched the last video and I saw a lot more, so we're going to start off here as if you didn't watch the last one, just real quick. The line here, you can see the spot for the eye, perhaps the nose, and the ripple for the mouth. And when we move it away, you might be able to see different eyes, but there are some incredible paintings that are on here too that I want to point out. So just down here at the bottom, there's going to be more images of humans. And on the right hand side, we have a pretty good mammoth, if I could find him. But right here, you can see how the eye, that little lip right here, is for an eye. And you can see how the different colors. So we were thinking maybe it was just 3 colors. 1, 2, 3. No. Look at the other colors. There's actually more than just 3 colors or layers on this. So let's go ahead and look down here. We have this layer, but then there's also a very white layer. So just down here in this very white section, there's going to be another silhouette or a portrait. And we might see some in red as well. See the hole for the eye, the nose maybe as a mouth down here. So we're looking at the face right here with the little ripples down here for the mouth. And we can tilt that to where he shows up. Look at this line in the stone as the mouth, and you can see the colored in eye here. And I want you to take a close look at just the lines of the color and how the hair starts right up here at the very top. Now you can look at this diamond as the eye as well. I think our mammoth kind of comes out a little different each time I look at it, so it's tough for me to show it, but you might be able to see this crack right here for the mouth of the character, and the longest point, of course, being the nose. And just down here at the very bottom edge, there's going to be more. So we're going to go ahead and take this one, I think. So we could take a peek at its common archaeological elements as well. It does have that blade the whole way down it. It also might be like for gold panning. I don't know if I looked at the right hand side so much, but this one gives me goosebumps. So you guys can see the very large carve. Look for your different eyes. Look at the X that's put onto her head. Of course, this is the nose. The longest point is being the nose here. And I want you to take a look at the jawline, the way that comes out, especially when I go ahead and tilt this. Now, of course, you can see how the rest of this is representing the hair. Ignore the other faces for now. Look at the neck right here, and I'm going to go ahead and point this one upward. You may be able to start to see some diamonds, different carvings in here. Sometimes that's just the third eye. So look at the eye carving that I'm seeing right here is the circle with the dot in it. Focus on that for